Mia tightened her grip on the wheel as the gates of the private Tesla test track slid open with a soft mechanical hum. The morning air smelled faintly of wet asphalt after an overnight drizzle, and the polished surface of the track reflected the pale California sun. A brand new Tesla Model Y Performance waited for her like a coiled spring, sleek, slightly aggressive lines catching the light as if the car itself were aware of its own power. The representative handed her the minimalist key card with a grin that carried more confidence than words. She slid inside and was immediately enveloped in silence. The cabin had a crisp, clean scent of new materials and faint hints of leather, though she knew it was all vegan. Her fingers brushed over the streamlined dashboard, now finished with a subtle matte trim, and she could almost feel the whisper of hidden technology waiting beneath the surface. The seat cradled her like a tailored glove. With a tap of the pedal the car came alive. A barely audible whir, and then, instant torque. The surge of acceleration pushed her firmly into the seat, a physical jolt that was at once startling and addictive. 0 to 60 in what felt like the blink of an eye. The wind noise was nearly absent, only a low, electrifying growl of the motors accompanied her as the world outside blurred. The steering felt sharper than she remembered from older Teslas, responsive yet smooth, as though the car anticipated each subtle movement of her wrists. She took a tight curve and the new suspension setup revealed itself, balanced, confident, almost playful. It clung to the road with a poise that made her heartbeat quicken. She slowed near the straightaway and the panoramic roof framed a slice of blue sky overhead. For a moment she just sat there, listening to the quiet tick of cooling components. It wasn't only speed that impressed her, it was the way the car made performance feel effortless, almost serene. She recalled her first Tesla drive years ago, the rush of believing she was witnessing the future. Somewhere along the way, that magic had faded. Yet here she was, grinning like she had back then. Just as she prepared to end the run, a notification flashed across the central screen. New software update available, Track Plus mode. Details to follow. Her pulse jumped again. Tesla had always been a company that thrived on surprises, and she sensed this was more than a minor tweak. The next day she found herself walking through the buzzing heart of Tesla's Fremont factory. The air smelled of machine oil and ozone, the rhythmic hiss of robotics echoing through high ceilings. She followed an engineer in a crisp black jacket who spoke with the calm excitement of someone who loved his work. He gestured toward a newly assembled battery pack gleaming under fluorescent lights. 10% range increase, thanks to our revised thermal management, he said, his eyes reflecting the pride of countless late nights. He pointed out the redesigned cooling channels and the compact arrangement of the cells, explaining how they achieved higher density without sacrificing safety. Mia moved to a station where the dual-motor system was being calibrated. She watched as a technician monitored screens full of data, torque curves, temperature readings, minute adjustments. The engineer explained that the new AI-driven track mode could predict torque distribution on the fly, shifting power between the front and rear motors even before the driver sensed a loss of grip. "It's like the car knows what you're about to do," he said with a grin. Nearby, aerodynamic components were being tested, subtle changes in the bodywork designed to shave drag and improve stability at high speeds. Mia recorded every detail for her vlog but could not ignore the growing sense that something bigger was hidden just beyond the official tour. Tesla had always been secretive, and she had learned to read the small signs. A quick glance between engineers, a closed door marked restricted, the faint echo of machinery behind it. Whatever the Track Plus mode update promised, it seemed to be only part of a larger plan. As she left the factory, the late afternoon sun catching the gleam of the test vehicles outside, she felt the familiar itch of curiosity turn into anticipation. Tesla wasn't just refining their cars, they were quietly setting the stage for something that might once again redefine what electric performance truly meant. Mia loaded the Model Y Performance with nothing more than an overnight bag, a camera kit, and her favorite travel mug, eager to see how the car would behave outside the controlled environment of a track. The plan was a 500-mile road trip across California, from the buzzing streets of San Francisco to the sunlit coastline near San Diego. Morning fog rolled in as she pulled onto the highway, softening the skyline and turning the Golden Gate Bridge into a shadowy silhouette behind her. The car glided forward with the same unshakable quiet she had felt at the test track, the cabin insulated from the outside world like a perfectly tuned pair of noise-canceling headphones. The new seats offered a gentle support that felt built for long hours, their shape holding her posture effortlessly. With a light tap on the steering stalk, she activated the latest version of Tesla's autopilot and watched as the car settled itself neatly into the center of the lane, adjusting speed as if reading the intentions of the surrounding traffic. As the miles passed, she stopped for her first charge at a supercharger station tucked beside a cafe. The battery display showed more range remaining than she had expected. She ordered a coffee and filmed a quick segment for her vlog, noting how the updated battery architecture seemed to translate to real-world gains, not just lab numbers. By the time she finished her drink, the Tesla was already topped up, ready to continue. Heading south, the terrain shifted from misty hills to long stretches of golden farmland. The car absorbed each change in scenery and road texture with grace. Late in the afternoon, the sky darkened. Heavy clouds gathered and a sudden rainstorm descended like a curtain, drenching the highway in minutes. Windshield wipers swept furiously, but the road's surface turned slick and treacherous. Mia felt her muscles tense, but the Model Y seemed almost indifferent to the challenge. She felt the subtle flickers of the traction control beneath her, the quiet confidence of a system that had been fine-tuned to anticipate trouble. The AI-driven torque distribution she had heard about at the factory came alive, shifting power invisibly between the wheels. Even as puddles formed and other cars slowed nervously, the Tesla maintained a poised, almost athletic composure. When she finally climbed the last twisting stretch of mountain road toward her coastal destination, the rain softened to a drizzle. The car hugged each curve with a fluid precision that left her both relieved and exhilarated. By the time she parked near a windswept overlook, the sun had broken through, casting a copper glow over the Pacific. She stepped out into the salty air, realizing that this wasn't just a performance car, it was a traveling companion that made the long journey feel almost effortless. Back in her studio the following evening, Mia reviewed hours of footage, the faint hum of her editing equipment blending with the city sounds beyond her window. She rehearsed her final verdict, speaking to the camera about the car's balance of power, practicality, and quiet confidence. Before she could record the final take, her phone buzzed with a Tesla notification, an over-the-air update ready to install. Curious, she tapped to open the details and froze. Track Plus mode, now available, the screen declared. She hurried back to the garage, heart quickening. The Model Y waited silently, as if holding its breath. The update installed in minutes, and a new menu appeared on the center display. Track Plus mode offered more than she expected. Customizable regenerative braking profiles, adaptive sound synthesis to mimic a sportier engine note, and deeper control of suspension and traction parameters. It was as though the car had unlocked a second personality. Without hesitation, she slid into the driver's seat and rolled out into the quiet city streets. Under the glow of midnight streetlights, she pressed the accelerator. The response was immediate, sharper than before, the artificial growl of the synthesized sound blending with the electric whine to create an almost cinematic rush. She took an empty stretch of road, carving through each curve with a grin that refused to fade. This was more than an update, it felt like a secret gift, a whisper from Tesla to those who still craved the thrill of discovery. As she slowed at the end of the street, the city skyline shimmering ahead, she spoke softly into her camera's mic, the excitement evident in her voice. "Is it enough to make me want one again?" she asked, a smile tugging at her lips. "Absolutely.